Hey everyone, welcome back to America in Mind, where your voice still matters. And every episode asks the question, is this what we want for America? Every few decades, a single bill rewrites the rules of the American game. And this might be that bill. A bill so sweeping, they didn't just number it, they named it. The One Big Beautiful Bill. H.R. 1 just passed by both the House and Senate.
House Republicans handed President Trump a big win on his so-called Big Beautiful Bill.
The yeas are 218, the nays are 214. The motion is adopted.
Lawmakers passed the massive budget bill after a day of tense negotiations, with Republican leaders and President Trump himself working to wrangle support from GOP holdouts.
And President Trump just signed it into law. Some are calling it a second Declaration of Independence. Others call it a declaration of war on the working class. It promises tax relief, military strength, and border security, but also delivers deep cuts to healthcare, food assistance, and federal programs many Americans rely on. Republicans are celebrating it as a return to strength, discipline, and national pride. Democrats warn it's a blueprint for inequality, instability, and an uncertain future. So what's the truth behind the headlines? What's really in this bill? And more importantly, what will it mean for you, your family, and the country we all share? In this episode, we break down the Republican and Democrat views and ask the question that matters most. Is this what we want for our country? Welcome to America in Mind, where we don't chase clicks, we chase truth. We have a lot to get into, so let's dive in. Let's start with what's actually in the bill. H.R. 1, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, is arguably one of the most sweeping legislative packages passed in decades. It spans tax policy, entitlements, defense, border security, and the federal budget itself. Here are some of the biggest headlines. 1. Tax cuts made permanent. The bill locks in the 2017 tax cuts, originally set to expire in 2025. That means lower marginal tax rates for individuals, a 21% corporate tax rate, and larger estate tax exemptions are here to stay. Supporters say it helps small businesses and working families. Critics argue it mainly benefits high earners and corporations, adding over $1 trillion to the long-term deficit. Second, new senior tax relief. Seniors making under $75,000 a year, or $150,000 jointly, will pay zero federal income tax on their Social Security benefits. That's a major win for retirees. But it also reduces Social Security's funding base by billions per year, potentially accelerating insolvency by as much as 12 months, according to budget analysts. 3. Cuts to Medicaid and food assistance. This bill reduces federal Medicaid funding by over $900 billion across 10 years. It also imposes strict new work requirements for both Medicaid and the SNAP program. That could mean 10 to 12 million people losing healthcare coverage, and up to 3 million losing food assistance, depending on how states implement the rules. 4. A border and defense spending surge. Over $300 billion is injected into national security. Funding for ICE expansion, border wall development, and new surveillance technologies. Massive upgrades to the military, including drone fleets, cyber warfare infrastructure, and advanced weapon systems. The bill shifts billions away from domestic agencies to bolster hard power abroad and at the southern border. 5. A $5 trillion debt ceiling hike. To avoid a government shutdown or default, the bill raises the federal borrowing limit by $5 trillion. It's the largest increase in U.S. history. Supporters say it's necessary to keep the government functioning. Critics call it fiscal hypocrisy, pairing tax breaks with unchecked spending. 6. Cuts to green energy incentives. Several tax credits and subsidies for renewable energy, introduced under the Inflation Reduction Act, are either scaled back or eliminated. That includes credits for solar, EVs, and energy-efficient home upgrades. Republicans say it ends woke subsidies. Democrats call it a dangerous reversal on climate progress. 7. New deductions and populist provisions. There are also smaller, attention-grabbing items. A new deduction for tips and overtime pay. A temporary deduction for auto loan interest on U.S.-made vehicles. And a 5-year cap on how states can regulate AI, limiting local restrictions. All of it wrapped into a single vote. It's bold, it's polarizing. And depending on where you sit, it's either a blueprint for national renewal or the opening shot in a new round of American austerity. Republicans say this bill is long overdue. They see it as a return to Reagan-style economics, where lower taxes boost business and individual prosperity. A strong message to foreign adversaries, with billions invested in military readiness. A solution to what they call a border crisis, with new funds for agents, walls, and tech. A win for seniors, many of whom will no longer be taxed on their hard-earned Social Security. And perhaps most importantly, a symbolic shift. This is a declaration of independence from decline, Trump said after the bill passed. In GOP circles, this is seen as a triumph of American values: freedom, strength, and self-reliance. Democrats, on the other hand, warn that the price is too high. They argue, the tax cuts favor the wealthy while adding trillions to the national debt. 11 million people could lose Medicaid coverage by 2034. 3 million could lose food assistance. Rural hospitals, already under pressure, may collapse without federal support. The rollback of clean energy incentives is seen as a gift to polluters and a step backward on climate. And then there's Social Security. While seniors get tax relief, the trust fund now faces insolvency even sooner. Democrats see this bill not as beautiful, but as brutal, cutting help for the poor to give breaks to the rich. Here's the reality. This bill offers relief to many, especially seniors and small business owners. It answers the call for stronger borders and defense preparedness. But it also means less health care for millions. It may shift the tax burden away from retirees and toward future generations through deficit growth. And while it boosts national power abroad, some say it leaves our most vulnerable behind at home. The truth? It's complicated. And that's why the conversation matters more than ever. So, what do you think? This is your country. This is your future. Is the big beautiful bill a bold step toward restoring the American dream? Or is it a short-sighted move that sacrifices compassion for the illusion of strength? Is it a bold step toward restoring American strength, or a risky gamble with long-term consequences? Does this bill reflect the will of the people, or the agenda of politicians in power? Drop a comment below, and let's keep this conversation going. If you're someone who believes truth still matters, and that America is worth thinking about, then like, share, and subscribe. This is America in Mind. Stay grounded, stay vigilant, stay informed, and mostly, stay free.